everybody, it's your girl Keemah.G and welcome back to Life, Beauty, and Inspiration. So I haven't made a video in a couple of weeks, and the reason why I haven't made a video or neither been on social media is because I had to take care of my health. So I'm here today to share my video about my fibroid and my myomectomy experience. So let's get started. 2014, I went to the doctor for my regular checkup, right? I go in there and I go for my regular checkup. This is my pap smear. She gives me the paper to do the blood test, and then she says, oops, I think you have a fibroid. So I'm like, okay. So she sends me to do an ultrasound at the same time that I'm supposed to do my blood work. And I went and I did my ultrasound, and they said that I had a fibroid the size of like a kidney bean. They said it's very common in women of color. She said it's at a decent place and this is where it is. The doctor told me, like, you know, we'll just watch it. And I felt like, okay, no problem. So of course you find out that you have something overgrowing, an overgrowth in your uterus, that you're like, what is this? And you go and you do a whole bunch of research. So I researched how to get rid of it the holistic way, what if they grow. Like I spent like 6 hours on fibroids, and I was just like, girl, you're setting yourself nuts. Like, just keep doing you and try and take care of yourself. But within those years, I would say I wasn't necessarily completely taking care of myself the way that I could have. Last year, I was feeling as if I was carrying something in my stomach. And not only feeling it, but I was seeing that my stomach had gotten really like big. And I'm not gonna say that I'm this skinny girl. Like, I got hips and I got a booty, but most of my waist is normally not as big as it appeared to be last year. So I was looking at my stomach in the beginning. I'm like, I look like I'm 3 months pregnant. So I went in and I did a doctor's appointment, and then my doctor sent me for another ultrasound because she says, you know, it could be a side effect of the fibroid. Maybe it's growing. Let's see what's going on. So I went into the hospital. I finally got the appointment. I get into the room and I'm sitting there and I'm lying down there. She puts the cold stuff. That thing will, like, you just want to freeze. You're like, argh! And she puts it on my stomach, and as she's going with the camera, she's like, 1, yep, 2, 3, 4. She's going below the abdomen. I'm like, what is going on? And then she told me that the doctor will basically evaluate the exam, but so far she could see that I have 4 fibroids the size of an orange and a whole bunch of other ones. So that wasn't a good feeling leaving the hospital. No, it wasn't a good feeling at all. I felt like there was something wrong with my woman bits. Like, I was like, is this going to interrupt me creating life and bringing forth my own kids? Like, I heard of these stories, I watched them on YouTube, I listened or read these blogs, and I'm just like, I want my own children. So I pray to God that this doesn't interfere with it, but I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm 32, I'm single. Now I have an invasion of fibroids on my uterus. I'm not looking like I'm in a good zone right now. Like, the flags are not on my side, but I left there saying that you just got to do what you got to do, and you're going to figure out your next step. I was referred by my doctor to a specialist, Dr. Hemmings. He's a very good doctor, surgeon here, and he specializes in those stuff. He probably does a surgery at least once a week on fibroids, so I felt really comfortable on him. I went in there. It was very warming. He told me that he evaluated my exam, and he said that there's a lot. And he said, usually at your age, at 32, he said, I've never seen somebody with this amount that has never been operated on. He said that my fibroids was like 5 months, and he said my stomach was appearing at 6 months. He gave me the options, you know, like you could, you know, a lot of people try the holistic way. He's like, he's not saying for sure it's going to work, but he said a lot of people try and go that route. He said there's medication to try and shrink them, and then after their surgery, and he's like, or you could just wait. But he said, he's like, at that point, he's like, like he said before, I've never seen somebody with that amount of fibroids that haven't had surgery. So I asked him more about the surgery. He told me that, I said, why is he recommended surgery? And he said, because I have no children. He said that because I have no children, he said that chances are, because there's so much fibroids, that I will experience a lot of miscarriages or I will have premature children. He said he's not 100% sure, but just based on his experience and what he's seen over the last 30 years, he said this is what usually happens. He says that my uterus was very thick, the walls were thick because they show you the millimeters of your walls. He said there was no endometriosis, which is another situation with women. He said, you know, everything seems clean, but it's just that there was no cyst or anything, but these fibroids are just taking over your uterus. And we want to try and preserve the uterus. I thought about it for a bit and he told me to think about it. But as I sat in the waiting room, I was just like, I want kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want kids. I had an experience when I was younger, which I don't want to experience again. And I said to myself that I think I'm going to go through with the surgery. So he said, we can make an appointment, we could put in the referral, and he's like, you could take your time to think about it. And if you want to go through, you go through. If you don't, you don't. I've never been through a surgery in my life. I've never been through a surgery. I was scared. I was nervous at first. And then I kind of forgot about it within the months. But I knew I had to start getting prepared for this surgery. My moods were different. I felt like I was lugging around something. My periods were very, very, very heavy. They were lasting longer. I couldn't sleep on my stomach for almost a year. Every time I sat down, I felt like there was something underneath my ribs. It's literally like I was pregnant with nothing in there. I was pregnant with fibroids invading my uterus when a baby's supposed to be invading there. That's what was going on. So the months went by, I thought about it, and I stuck to my plan. I said I was going to have the surgery. So before you go into surgery, you get a pre-op. A pre-op is you go in, you take blood work, you do a pregnancy test. They tell you everything you need to do before you go into surgery. You get your bag that you need to have, you get your little cup that you need to pee in. And she tells you, you ask any question that you want, at least my nurse. I asked any question that I wanted to. And then after, the pre-op is like a couple of days before your surgery, and then after you go into surgery. When I was going into surgery, I've never been into surgery. I was just like, God, you know what I'm saying? I'm 32 years old. I said, I still have all my life to live. I said, Lord, just guide the hands of these doctors and these nurses and please allow them to get me out of this surgery great and healthy and back into shape. I got to the surgery place I got to the hospital at 6:15. I was supposed to be there at 6, so I was a little late. But 6:15, I got there and I was just quiet. I was just kind of in my feelings. That was the same hospital actually that my grandmother died at, so I wasn't too happy to be there. But I had the great support of friends and family at the hospital. So the thing about the surgery is that I didn't have the surgery where they go through your stomach. I had an incision on my bikini line. And so basically they cut your bikini line, they go through your uterus, and they remove all the fibroids. So as I'm getting into the operating room, I'm getting a little nervous at this point because you're walking in and you see these lights and the nurses, and there's a whole bunch of them. There's like 8 people there. I'm like, what is going on? And you got my doctor, hi. And I'm just like, why are you smiling for? Why you look so calm? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I am a mess right now. So you have 2 options of anesthesia. I can never say that word, but you know what I mean. So they could either give you, like, put you to sleep and give you the breathing thing, or they could numb you and then give you something to slowly fall asleep. So I chose to get the numbing. So it's like they're giving you a needle in your back, and they're like holding you, like hugging you like this, so you're just like this. They gave me the needle in my back, and as they were giving me the IV, I started to pray, and yeah, they said that I prayed myself to sleep. And the next thing you know, I wake up and I'm in the recovery room. So the recovery room, I woke up and I didn't even know where I was. I was just like, what? I hear people, but it's like you're so like out of it that I'm like, who's really talking? Like, where am I? You're still in that sleeping mode. But the thing about being frozen from your stomach down is that you don't necessarily feel the pain right away. The pain slowly, as the numbing wears off, the pain increases. And they said whenever I felt pain to just tell them and they'll give me something. As I was in the recovery room, whenever the pain hit me, I would lift my hand or I would say something and I would get the thing. I was supposed to be in the recovery room for 2 hours, but I was in there for 3. I guess it's because they wanted to get me to more of a stable place. The first day I felt like very out of it, like in and out of sleep, up, in and out of sleep. And then I wanted to drink. I wanted something to drink. I didn't have no appetite. I decided to drink kombucha. And kombucha, the ginger and the turmeric, now you know that's powerful. And your sister couldn't keep it in, and I threw up like 2 minutes later. I threw it all up. They changed me. So now comes the second day. Day number 2 in the hospital, they took out the catheter. I asked them to take it out because they said they were going to take it out. I didn't want it in the beginning, but they had to give me a catheter because they had numbed me. So they wanted me to continue to release, I guess, the fluids. And I guess when you're numb, you don't even know if you're releasing it or not. So they gave me a catheter. I had so much gas in my stomach, plus the abdominal planes where the incision is. So I'm having gas, I'm taking these pain medications, I don't have an appetite, and they're telling me to walk. But I was just like, this is like tough, but I'm gonna do it. So I was walking. Every time I got up from sleep, I would get up, I would walk 15 minutes. I would try to eat a little bit of something, drink some water, drink a lot of water, but the gas was just in my stomach. So every time I moved, every time I shifted, I could just feel the gas. If I stayed still, I wasn't feeling nothing. But once I start to move around, even the little thing of the gas would just rumble and rumble and rumble. Day number 3, I looked worse than how I looked on day number 2. I was in excruciating pain from the gas. I had no energy. I had no appetite. I was forcing myself to eat. And I have to say it, God, like, I appreciate a fart. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate a fart. I know I'm a girl and people don't like to hear that, but I appreciate a fart. And that day, I just wanted to fart and I couldn't. So I was gassed up. I was trying to kick in these painkillers every time I can to reduce the pain. I was tired. I was weak. And I looked horrible. That was the worst day out of all, was the 3rd day. So my sister walked in and she's like, you look worse than you did the first day and the second day, which doesn't make any sense. So as the night went on, they come and they take your fever and they take your blood pressure every time. There's a new nurse, and there was like a student, the student's teacher, and then after the nurse, and then after the nurse assistant. I'm just like, how much people are gonna take my damn blood pressure? You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, they're doing their job. They did a good job. And when I took my blood pressure around 8 something, it was more towards night, I had a fever of 104. They took it 20 minutes later, it was 108. All I felt was the gas. My sister asked me, do you feel like you want to pass out? Do you feel like, weak? And I said, no, because I kept on moving around in the bed. She's like, well, your fever is very high. So they started to give me antibiotics, and they started to, administer me the antibiotics because they didn't know what was going on. They sent me for x-rays of my upper chest and my abdomen to see if maybe there was any infection happening inside. And at this point, I was still very gassed up. And then after, I just couldn't take the pain anymore. And I was trying to be strong, but it just wasn't working. So when they came back with my urine test, they found out that it was a UTI. And sometimes these things happen when you have a catheter in you. So I got a UTI for the first time in my whole entire life. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? So as they started to give me the antibiotics, my fever started to go down. My fever was really, really high. And that's like scary high. But when you're in that gas pain, I don't know, I guess my pain threshold is a little high. I was not feeling anything besides for that gas. I just wanted that gas out. So luckily on the 3rd day at like 11:45, I finally passed gas. And I'm really happy to pass gas because you know why? I realized in that experience to be more grateful. Like, as much as people be like, oh, it's just a fart, it means a lot. Your body needs to release. And I've learned that in this experience. So on the 4th day, they wanted to monitor me, and on the 5th day, I went home, and I was home. So now I arrive home and I get home. So this is when the healing process occurs. The healing process is real. The healing process is, it's a journey. But my only recommendation for somebody who is either contemplating or is about to experience a myomectomy and is dealing with fibroids and is thinking about doing the surgery or going to do the surgery, you need the support after when you leave the hospital. Me, I had an incision and there was 14 staples. You lose blood. Your energy is not as strong as it was before. The body goes through a shock. And the body has to recuperate. So you could only do so much on a daily basis. They encourage you to walk because they want to prevent the blood clots and they want to get your body organs to start functioning back at a normal pace, at your normal pace. But the reality is that you can't really push yourself as much. You have to literally take it day by day. So my first day I came home, I had somebody here with me and I felt like, oh, I'm going to be okay, I'm going to be okay. But as the weekend prevailed, as the weekend continued on, I realized that I needed more support. So in terms of somebody cooking for you, in terms of somebody coming to help you to get out the shower, these are things that are very important because you don't want to strain too much. You don't want to go up and down the stairs. I have 2 flights of stairs, so you don't want to continue to go back up the stairs. You want to pick where you're going to be. And most of the time, pick the level that you have everything. Your food, your TV, your toothbrush, you know. I'm lucky enough to say I have 2 bathrooms, so I could use one. But for the person that, you know, if you're on a ground level, it's great. But if you have 2 levels, you have to pick which one you're going to be on and make sure that everything is accessible to you. You're going to want to sleep a lot. You're going to want to sleep a lot. You're going to want to take your breaks when it's necessary. You're going to want to walk. Even if you're walking for 10 minutes up and down the street, it helps. It helps to get your organs to start moving back and kicking in. It helps for you to actually pass your stool properly, pass them farts properly. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to eat healthy too. Like that junk with the McDonald's and shit and all that type of thing. You could say that to the side. You're going to want to eat healthy. You're going to want to eat decent meals, and you're going to want to take into account that your body needs a rest. Today, I actually, it makes it 2 weeks. So I've been gone for a month, but I've been preparing for the surgery and came out of surgery 2 weeks ago. And I could say that now I could walk up and down the stairs with one leg, another leg. I wasn't doing that before today. It was one leg, but today I was trying. I just removed the tape because first you remove the staples and then they remove the tape. So I just removed the tape today. I feel like my stomach has went down a large amount, but I'm still very numb where the incision is, and it feels like it's still frozen because they cut through the nerve. So I'm still taking my time there. I'm feeling good today after 2 weeks. So that's where I've been. So I just want to say, for anybody that's going through the surgery or thinking of going through the surgery, I really hope that this video works. I hope that it gives you some type of ease in your heart to learn from my experience. And I also want to tell people to stay up to date with your health. You got free Medicare, you got good insurance, there is no reason. Take it from me, like I didn't do my ultrasounds every year. But when I realized that there was something different about my body, I went right away. And they seen it right away. So whatever is going on in my body, I was able to catch it. And I think it's very important because we don't know what's going on in our bodies. We only know when we become vigilant and aware and we actually look at the different transitions that our bodies go through and say to yourself, is there something changing? Is my body going through this? Is it because of that? Like really know the signs of your body because it's very, very, very important. So that is my journey of my fibroids and my myomectomy, and that's where I've been in the last couple of weeks, and I just hope this video leaves you guys with some insight and it helps another person out who may be going through the same thing. And I pray that in the next years to follow that they never ever come back, not once, and I pray that God delivers me a great man and delivers me a little, you know, bambino, a little bit of turkey cooking in the oven so I get my little baby, you know? So Fibers are gone, health is back up, and my waist is gonna be snatched soon. Wishful thinking. Take care. From my journey to yours. Mwah!